Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Saturday and we've got a lot of DC Universe news to talk about. A lot of cool things that we now know, some first looks and some casting, so let's jump right into it. Okay everybody, we are just a few months away from getting the Superman movie in theaters, and we already know that Supergirl is filming to come out next year, and that's going to be really cool, but we've gotten our first look at Supergirl. That's number one. And then we got another character cast in the DCU, Sinestro. That's right, Sinestro is going to be one of the villains in the new Lantern show. And we now know who is going to be playing him. So let's get down to it. First off with the Supergirl news, because this is cool. The Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow movie, we know has Lobo in it. So it is changing things from the way the comics did it. But it seems like it will be following the story of that comic somewhat. Where it is Supergirl trying to save this other girl. And that will be a cool thing for them to do. But we know it's going to be a little bit different from what it is in the comics. And that's fine too. But our first look shows Supergirl, Millie Aycock, actually sitting down in a chair. And we get our first look at the scene that is playing out in front of her because she's sitting in a chair that's sort of a behind the scenes chair. But if you look really closely, a lot of people are saying it looks like the bar that is in the actual comic. So we could be getting this scene playing out in the movie. That's what everybody's saying. And even if that's not 100% true, this movie's going to be a bright movie. The colors on the scene that's in front of her look vivid. They look great. It looks like a comic book. And that's something that is important. Superman looks like a comic book. This looks like a comic book. If this is the way it is going for the DCU, I couldn't be more excited. Now, this is what was actually said by James Gunn on social media. Thrilled to see the cameras at Warner Brothers Studio in Livingston on Supergirl, with Craig Gillespie at the helm and the phenomenal Millie Alcock as our Cora Zor-El. Craig brings an incredible sensibility to the story, and Millie is every inch the unique Supergirl envisioned by Tom King, Bliskus Evie, and Ann Noriagra. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name. I'm actually sorry if I mispronounced any of those names, but the point is that this movie is going to be amazing. Just the first look at the script, knowing that we're going to be getting Lobo, the future of the DCU is looking bright, and it's looking like something that I want to see, something that I want to be excited to go and see. And I can't say that I was excited to go and see every single one of the DCEU. And the reason was because some of it was a little dark. Now it is here that I have to say that I did like the DCU. Even though I wasn't excited for every project, even though I wasn't happy with some of the darker themes that it entailed, I loved the concepts behind it. I loved the plots. I loved everything they were trying to do with the movies. And sure, I would love to see them continue. Even though I don't think it's going to happen, on the off chance that they would ever actually continue these, I think it would be great. Even if they have to do it in comic book form as a one-shot sort of comic book or something, or if they have to do it as an animated movie on Netflix or whatever they have to do it as, I would be excited to see what they do with this property, with the DCEU. I would love for it to be considered an Elseworlds movie. That being said, I have to be honest that I wasn't always happy with the things that they did. I want my superhero movies to feel like superhero movies. I want them to feel bright. I want them to seem like I'm reading the comics. I want to feel like the comic book page has come to life in front of my eyes. And I really don't think I'm alone there. But then you also have the other news. The next bit of news that we have is something that is really cool, and that is that they have cast Sinestro. And the actor Ulrich Thompson has been cast to play Sinestro. Now, there are a few different ways to pronounce this name, and I probably mispronounced every pronunciation ever. But anyway, this actor is amazing to see in this role. He is probably best known for playing in Banshee. And if you haven't seen that, it is on Netflix. You can check it out. It is a pretty good show. As I understand, it's streaming on Netflix. So if you haven't watched it, you can find it on streaming somewhere fairly easily. He is best known for that, and he's amazing in it. So seeing him jump into this part is exciting. But what exactly does this mean for him? So let's talk a little bit about what this means for the character of Sinestro. Sinestro in this is going to be a little bit older, much like Hal Jordan. Because if you don't know, in the comics, Sinestro actually trained Hal Jordan to be Green Lantern. And then he got mad at the powers that be that were sort of helping the Green Lanterns. And I'm trying to keep this a little bit simple. He got mad at them and he left. And even you could see this play out in the last Green Lantern movie we got with Ryan Reynolds. He grabs the yellow ring at the end. It becomes a yellow lantern. Now, the yellow lanterns deal in fear, and they are essentially bad guys. In fact, when Green Lantern in the comics becomes Parallax, that is actually a version of what embodies the yellow lantern rings, more or less. So you have that. But this is important because Sinestro would have been around for a long period of time at this stage, meaning that this is yet another origin we're not going to get to see in the James Gunn universe. James Gunn seems to be stepping away from origins as fans don't really feel that they need them all the time. And I think that that's okay. To have him step away from these origins isn't something that's going to be bad, because everyone knows all the superhero origins, and if you don't, they're easy enough to check up on. They're easy enough to find. The origin of the superhero has changed over the time, a little bit depending upon which hero, but more or less they've kept them the same, where they always go back to the main classic ones. So seeing him play Sinestro, we don't need this origin for how Sinestro became a villain. We just have to know that he is. But this could be a scenario where we could eventually see him in other things as Sinestro, and that would be fun too. But something else that this tells us that is important. This tells us that the Green Lantern show, while taking place on Earth, is not going to be just an Earth-based thing. No, if Sinestro is there and a part of it, then it already has a much more elaborate setting than just Earth. Because even if they stay on Earth, the history of Sinestro and everything that he has going on is going to come into play. We're supposed to be seeing this Green Lantern show where Hal Jordan is played by Kyle Chandler, who's a little bit older. And we get to see him training John Stewart, essentially, who's going to be played by Aaron Pierre. Now, whether or not they show any actual training, these origins have already been written. And that's kind of the important thing here. We also know that they're not the only Green Lanterns we'll be seeing in the series. We know there will probably be others. And that's okay too, because we could be seeing a lot more of them in the future. And I think that's not a bad thing. Now, in terms of the Supergirl movie, we get to meet Lobo. So all of this stuff is coming into play. Lobo is very much this sort of space character, and the Lanterns, for the most part, are space characters. In this series, they'll be on Earth, but normally all we ever get to see them doing is fighting on other planets, fighting in space. except when they have to go to Earth, which, let's be real, in the comics, seems like they go to Earth a lot. So I don't understand what everybody is getting mad about the series taking place on Earth. Sure, I would have liked to have seen it take place on some crazy planet, but I will be happy with them doing this show on Earth. Sure, it might limit the budget a little bit, but that's never a bad thing. If you can pull off the effects, if you can pull off everything else, then it's definitely never a bad thing. I, for one, think it's all good news. I can't wait for this. I cannot wait for all the exciting news about the show, about this movie, and just in general. I want to see what they do next, because not having an origin and not really having every movie connect explicitly is a cool way to run this. It's much different than the DCU, and this could be the formula that actually puts the DCU ahead of the MCU. And the reason I say that is because you don't have to watch every single show. And as soon as you take that narrative out of the way and you don't have to watch every single show, I think what they're doing is brilliant. If one character or another don't appeal to you, you don't have to watch them. You won't feel like you're missing tons. Unlike in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where if you miss one thing, it seems like you've missed years of content in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But that is where I am going to leave it off to you guys. Are you excited about Ulrich Thompson playing Sinestro? Are you excited about the way the first look at Supergirl looks? Do you think they're going to follow fairly close to the comics, or do you think that with the inclusion of Lobo, we're going to get something that's kind of a lot different? And how much do you care? If the story's good, if they do a good job, what are your thoughts? Are you excited? Are you not excited? As always, we want to know what you guys think, so make sure you are leaving us that comment in the comment box below, letting us know what you think. Don't forget to share this video with all of your friends. They're going to want to be a part of the crazy conversation we're having. And then make sure you hit that like button. It's free, it helps the channel, and we really do appreciate it. And then Miko says we need more subscribers. And look at this face. You don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell while you're down there so you don't miss a single video we do. And then friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, and Miko knows it. Fandom is family.